Show. Turn up your mind.
How dangerous is it to think that our Supreme Court is completely compromised after today's testimony? Is it even a legitimate branch of the government anymore if even 80% of what we heard today in testimony is the standard operating procedures for many justices?
Yeah, I mean, what we heard today was really shocking. This was a very sophisticated and well-financed campaign to influence the court to become more conservative, to fortify their extreme positions. It was really shocking to hear the testimony. And look, it's one of the reasons why we have to pass legislation that will, in fact, enact a code of ethics or direct the court to enact a code of ethics, make clear their recusal requirements, and make sure that we have disclosure for any gifts or other things that the court justice has received. Every other federal judge, every member of Congress is required to go through a lot of disclosures that are governed by a code of ethics. It's only the Supreme Court of the United States that is exempt from that. That simply can't stand. And as a result, we're seeing the court at kind of its lowest it's ever been in terms of public confidence. The court relies on the confidence of the American people to do its work. So this is something we have to address. The court should want to address it. But what we heard today, I think, shows why this is urgent and why we have to insist that the Supreme Court of the United States operate under some well-established rules of conduct, ethics, and be held accountable if they violate those rules.
So, okay, that's David Cicilline, who is a Democrat from Rhode Island. Okay, telling you that this is dangerous. This is unbelievable that there is so much money in every single nook and cranny of the United States government, that it is a swamp, and that Donald Trump understood the swamp because Donald Trump used the swamp, manipulated the swamp for his own benefit, and had no intention of draining it. In fact, he wanted to corrupt it even further. He wanted to use his position as president of the United States to pack that court with people who would use things like the independent legislature theory to do away with the voting, because people are just so stupid. People in America are just there's such an impediment to the billionaires, to the hedge fund managers, to the giant corporations, to the pass-through companies, to everything that they've set up for themselves to stick their beaks in and to just extract every single nickel, every dime, everything of value that the United States has, from rare minerals all the way to the tax code. And they think that you and me, and I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent at this point, or Green Party, it doesn't matter. They think we're all so dumb. They think we're all such an inconvenience. This voting thing, well, that's got to stop. But as long as it goes on, they will spend $1.4 billion in the state of Georgia to gain a governorship and a Senate seat. $1.4 billion. And you have to say to yourself, my God, what are they getting out of it that would be worth that kind of money? Obviously, everything is the answer. Everything. The inability for Medicare to negotiate with Big Pharma the price of prescription drugs. Senators who say, all right, in the end, we have to pass something. So here's what I've been paid to say to you, the other senators. Since we have a 50-50 Senate, and you're going to do this through reconciliation, and my vote actually matters to your success, but translate your success to the people of the United States' success, because that's what it is. Okay? I can sign on to, I have permission from my handlers, from my donors, from my, pharmaceutical, masters. I have permission to say, if you don't start negotiating until 2026, and you only are able to negotiate 10 drugs, like maybe insulin, some other, generic things, then I can sign on. They said I'm free to do it. I mean, this is where we're at. Now you got the Supreme Court, and you have whistleblowers who were lobbying the Supreme Court in order to overturn Roe v. Wade, in order to get the independent legislature theory in front of the Supreme Court, in order to change everything about freedom in this country and how we rely on it. Individuals are giving $1 million to the Historical Society, the Supreme Court Historical Society, or money to the Federalist Society, or money to the Heritage Foundation, or money to this one or that one. I mean, all of it, and it's all against us, every single one of us. The problem we have is that every time we get together as a citizenry, and I mean a united front against the swamp, against the money, they throw in a culture issue to distract you. It's the small, shiny object that all of a sudden you're supposed to be aggrieved about that and not aggrieved about the fact that money is trumping our tranquility. Money is trumping our ability to have an effective government that acts on our behalf. It was the impediment to getting childcare out the door for working people. It's the impediment to getting health care for every single person in this country, so that it's not a fringe benefit that allows for an employer to say, well, I'm providing you with health care, so therefore I don't have to pay you as much. You know, it's a ridiculous thing that we've allowed our pension funds to not exist, that we've allowed health care to be, for profit, that we've allowed, no child care, no pre-K in this country. I mean, it's all a ruse. Every single thing that everyone would agree on gets destroyed by immigration, anti-immigrant sentiment. Blame them for the fact that you have no child care? Really? Blame them for the fact that you're paying for private health insurance even though you work for a living? Even though you pay taxes?